Yeah.
It's all about the truth. That's all
Yeah. They wouldn't let us into the police station earlier, so they held a press conference and they wouldn't let us in the police station. They said somebody got charged with assault. Okay, well, who was the person? Yeah, there's nobody got charged with assault. And this guy over here, he's a propagandist. He likes conservative.
They've been calling him out.
Yeah. He supports white supremacists.
Wow. The nerve to come to Texas.
Yeah, the nerve. Well, they feel involved. Did you see what happened to Joe Biden's bus in Texas yesterday? The bus. He was driving a bus. Get out the vote bus for Joe Biden to come on, and Trump. The Trump trucks were surrounded it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they tried to run it off the road, stopping on the highway. Yeah,
Wow,
they actually collided with somebody's car.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They all should be charged.
They all need to be charged. Now this is that's why I said I don't know.
Because they getting bold. They trying to, it's like a wait. That's what they're doing. Because he said Joe Biden's bus yesterday was rammed by on the highway. Yeah. They know their time up. That's why they do it.
When I was talking with my friends yesterday, she said I didn't vote because I didn't know who to vote for. I said,
Like, you got one choice right now. One choice. If he don't do what we want, we got 4 years to vote again. Yeah. Because right now it's just getting people involved to get trouble. If you're not committed to serving, then it's time to research. So it's time to vote again in 2 years for the House and the Senate. You know.
I told her, she said, you don't got to vote for nobody else, we got to get that. I just don't know.
Before we get started, I want to ask you at the July protest as well.
Yes.
Were you hearing the sign about the breastfeeding babies? Because I got a great picture of you from that.
Okay, and I've been trying to find a man's name.
Be careful.
That did
You should have said that yesterday. You sleep.
Yesterday?
No, in July.
Oh, okay.
And I've been trying to. I got
There were some people that harassed you yesterday, weren't there? No. Aside from that, afterwards, weren't there some people?
Yes, whenever I was going down the
Yeah,
sidewalk.
a man and a woman.
Exactly.
That was the same woman
That was mad about the sign.
No, that's the same woman that this summer was wearing a black penis mask.
Oh, really?
Yep. Did you guys see that or not?
I didn't see that.
She was showing up after that Trump rally, or after the Trump convoys that went through the county. She was wearing a face mask that was a giant black penis. And she's a strange woman.
Going to move off the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's what I heard. A friend of mine who's a photographer was there.
Okay.
And he put the picture of that. I'm like, hey, that's the same woman that was wearing the mask. And that's the same woman that had the sign. So I was starting to keep going. If I wanted to confirm that I had the right thing. I got to edit the photo out just a little bit because the photo I've got is your driver's license.
That's why when I'm shouting, I keep my shoes on.
You had an ID on it, and I just wanted to make sure I edit that out. I don't want your driver's license. Yeah, I mean, I looked it up. I'm like, that's the woman. Like, there's her address and her phone number, her address and her birthday. I had all that. So I just wanted to make sure that was the you.
Do you hear something?
Confirm that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was like, we gotta get serious. There was a lot of time ago.
Yeah, but I didn't know he was.
Hey, how you doing? Finally, yeah. All chaos. Yeah, because we're going to get way better yesterday. I got a lot of nice shots, okay.
Are we straight, guys?
4 times.
But you just step back a little bit. Yeah.
All right, it's all working again. I'll look at it. The truth, people got to see it.
Santos. Get the other arrested. Close your eyes right quick. I'm sorry.
They separated him from the first?
Yeah. I was the first one of them.
Can I just get just one camera to go? Now she's gonna take a picture in front of the body. Elijah, come here, son.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know.
And the vaccines.
I'll try to. It's a little awkward, all these cameras.
I know it is. I'm just visualizing the bar complaints that are going to be filed.
What?
Why? They'll be bogus. You know, they're spinning this now that this was all planned. We can turn inward. This wasn't planned by us. It was planned by Graham Media and Allen. But yeah, that this was a media op by him.
You got to call in. Give me a call. I got to see you
Right now, where's the little gun go?
Horrible with names.
Yeah,
No.
it's Haddix.
Miss Haddix.
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 Like 18 people. Oh, 21? 21 people got arrested.
I know one that's not here.
Oh, okay. 21 people got arrested. Nothing. 21 people.
I thought 17.
No.
I still don't know.
No, they lying. Nobody was arrested for no assault. They lying.
Nobody replayed on Facebook. You got video, son. Yeah, you lied. I got a recap. If you're so professional, go do a recap.
We're peaceful. We're non-violent. All right, but we must know who our enemies are.
Right.
Alamance News prints a lot of lies.
Yeah, they said no kids got pepper sprayed yesterday.
Yeah, Alamance blog has told a lot of lies.
I got pictures.
Everybody give Alamance blog the attention that they want.
They deserve.
Yes, son. Thank you, son.
Turn it back down. You might.
Okay, God's shining on us.
It's not working. It's not working. Good afternoon, everybody. Grace and peace from God our Father. I greet you in the name of Jesus Christ. I greet you in the name of justice for everybody. And I thank God for his covering and protection that has given us, look at this, sunshine.
Right
on a cloudy day. I'll be very forthcoming in saying that's probably the first time I've smiled since I left Graham, North Carolina, not too long ago, not even 24 hours ago. I and our organization, marchers, demonstrators, and potential voters left here sunken, sad, traumatized, obstructed, and distracted from our intention to lead people all the way to the polls in Graham, North Carolina on the final day of one-stop voter registration and voting. Behind me is a delegation of people who have become like family because we ended up in the Alamance County Jail asking ourselves, how could this have happened? We coordinated with the Graham Police Department and the Alamance County Sheriff's Department, as we did in July. And I want you, everyone who attended or listened to that press conference that the Graham Police Department convened not too long ago, they announced it after we announced ours, to distract folk from being here, like they just wanted to distract people from getting to those polls yesterday. If you listen to that conference, I want you to ask yourself, if Justice for the Next Generation Coalition successfully convened a march that led more than 1,500 people down North Main Street just 3 months ago, without any incident of violence, without any incident of destruction, under a state of emergency, why were we not capable of duplicating those same efforts as Graham Police Department has alleged today? We worked with them, our attorneys and myself spent countless hours and energy coordinating details to the march, the public record which will come forth of correspondences will support that. I went before the Graham City Council. I went before Graham event planners. I went before Graham police chiefs and a cadre of folks. And all along I asked them, why cannot we demonstrate our First Amendment rights as we did on July the 11th, on October 31st, with the intention this time of leading people to the polls? We proposed to do nothing different. And what we had this time that we didn't have before was a track record. We had history on our side. There should have been confidence placed behind our organization and our efforts to convene peacefully once again. And if you all remember, when we got there on July the 11th, we were met with 200 counter protesters, Confederates who were let into our area to distract us. But this time, instead of closing the street, the police chief and the city officials were intent on creating a public hazard, a public safety hazard, by allowing cars to circle that courthouse while we were convening a peaceful rally. They said that if they didn't, you would create an obstruction to get people to the polls. However, that polling site was accessible by 4 to 5 other places that members constituents here in Alamance County could have driven into. And we understand that while our march was going on, there were people that were held back from being able to leave our march and proceed down to the poll. And so we want to be clear about this one fact. We are still asking ourselves, why was there a need for our peaceful gatherers, marchers, organizers, and potential voters? Why was there a need? What did we do that would warrant the use of excessive force and the use of pepper spray or tear gas upon our multi-generational, multi-ethnic, upon our community that was in those streets just yesterday, organizing peacefully? I grew up here. We're not in Tucker Street Apartments because of lights, camera, and action today. I came here in July before we marched, and before I made my way to Wemmings Chapel, I came here yesterday morning to wake up this neighborhood, knocking on doors, engaging my family, engaging my friends, engaging my community, asking them to get out and vote today. When they banned us from Graham for 72 hours, I knew exactly where I needed to come. I knew exactly where we belong. We belong right here in Tucker Street Apartments today. We belong right here with this community that has been suppressed. I'm disappointed that nowhere near the entrance of this community or on the grounds of this community do I see any literature, any yard signage, anything that indicates that there's an election going on and that this community should be embraced in that process. I want you to know that what happened yesterday was foreseen. It was foreseen because in 2012, Sheriff Terry Johnson's department was sued by the federal government for their disproportionate arrests and interactions that lead to charges and all types of imprisonment of black and brown people. This is the sheriff that has called the Hispanic community taco eaters. These people that were in those streets yesterday, that are behind me today, and that will be behind us on Tuesday, are not here just because of what happened yesterday. This has been happening for years now. People have been drugged in these streets. People have been falsely accused of crimes that they did not commit. Our community has been oppressed, and that monument stands as an allegiance to the white supremacy that we have been activating and organizing against for years now. Let me tell you something. Greg Drumright and Justice for the Next Generation are not the rock stars. The local NAACP, Down Home Alamance, Forward Alamance, Future Alamance, so many coalitions that have come up as of the late. Alamance Alliance for Justice has, give them a round of applause. That is the organization that we envision post-July the 11th. And let me tell you what Quincelyn Ellison, Spencer Blackwell, Mama and Uncle Cliff Carter, let me tell you what folks like Maurice and Sean Green, let me tell you like folks like Mrs. D, ever since July the 11th, they have been at that courthouse demonstrating every weekend against the white supremacy and inequality and racial oppression that exists right here in my hometown. Let me tell you that they have been arrested, they have been beat on, they have been tear gassed, they have been drug away, they have been turned away. Since July the 11th, there have been preposterous policies that have been all of a sudden enacted to keep people from doing what we did peacefully on July the 11th. Mayor, city council, police officials, Alamance County Sheriff's Department, what did we do so wrong on July the 11th that you needed to bring militia force and use military tactics against elderly people, against young children on yesterday, that eventually resulted in folks not getting to those polls? What did we do so wrong? If you're going to have a press conference, answer to that.
That's it.
Don't answer about a generator that you can hold in your two hands if you're the weakest of us.
Yes.
Don't answer to that.
That's it.
Answer to what we're doing so wrong, that black folks and brown folks, Hispanics, are being arrested at a rate of 4 times to 1 of our white counterparts right here in Alamance County. Tell us why we were organizing to get people to the polls, but it was also a dual march. And I heard the city official today, the police department, say that there was never any intention on this march leading people all the way to the polls. Did they check my social media? The march route was outlined starting at Wayman's Chapel, marching to the Confederate monument. That's got to come down. It's got to come down. It's got to come down, cousin. It's got to come down. And it particularly articulated on all of our social media that this march would lead people onward to the Elm Street polls. As a result of what the police enacted yesterday, they shut down the street to the Elm Street poll. As I was being released from prison yesterday, there was one gentleman that was right in front of me. I didn't think he knew who I was, and nor did I tell him. I didn't even think he knew why we were in there. But I had to engage him for just a moment while the jailers had turned their back, and I asked him, I said, "Brother, are you going to vote?" And he looked at me and he said, "Reverend Drumright." He looked at me and said, "Reverend Drumright, I was going to vote with you today." The Graham Police Department touted that only 8 people were arrested yesterday.
Over 20.
They started arresting people before our rally began. From the stage, I witnessed people being arrested. Our observers were constantly bringing us intel. Drumright, people all around you are being arrested. Graham, tell the truth.
Come on, tell the truth.
Chief Christy Cole, tell the truth. How many people did you lock up yesterday? And I find it hard to believe that with rifles being pointed at us from rooftops, tear gas being launched upon us and our elderly and our children, that with militia presence all around us, that somebody assaulted a police officer. I find that hard to believe. I find that hard to believe. There is a woman of God right here. This minister of the faith, right here. I met her on July the 11th. She got in those streets with us again yesterday. I didn't even know who she was today because that didn't resemble the motor vehicle that she used as a disabled woman, as a disabled lady. I witnessed her being tear gassed, pepper sprayed, and I witnessed an epileptic seizure yesterday. Her scooter was overturned, and there she laid in the street fighting for her life. What did she do wrong, Graham? What did she do wrong? Terry Johnson, what did she do wrong? They allege that they only sprayed the tear gas and pepper spray on the ground.
You got pictures to prove it. You got pictures to prove it right in our face.
We tried to inform Chief Christy Cole that there would be too many cameras and too much footage of our events for something like this to happen and them to get away with it. The public record will show that I wrote Chief Christy Cole this week and begged her not to bring in an armed and overwhelming police presence. I articulated to her, Chief, that when police get involved, black folks end up in jail.
That's what happened.
Was that prophetic?
Yes, sir.
Or is that consistent?
Consistent.
My education tells me to answer like this, both and. Justice for the next generation.
Justice for the next generation
is what we were there to seek, and we left seeking justice for ourselves. One of our elders, she didn't think I would remember her. She introduced herself to me yesterday, and I said, Mama, you don't have to tell me your name. You're Miss Ernestine. I know who you are. She said, you remember me? I said, of course. I cannot forget you. Miss Ernestine, an elderly member of this community, a hero in this community, a woman of peace, a woman of love, a woman of light, was in those streets with us yesterday. She got up and marched with us yesterday. And as she sat there in her seat, she had to be whisked away. When I got out of jail last night, a young man tapped me on my leg. I later found out Crystal Clay's son. I later found out that he was 5 years old. He said, they sprayed me. They sprayed me. I was on the phone at 5 o'clock this morning talking to members of our organization who have been traumatized, who have headaches and heartaches right now. My eyes are still burning from the tear gas. My face is still on fire from the tear gas. Let me tell you something. We were beaten, but we're not going to be broken. Cast down, but will not be destroyed. We will stay relentless. I have heard from the North Carolina Attorney General, who has said, Reverend Drumright, I may have spoke too soon. And let me tell you, he called me today and he said, my understanding is ongoing, and I condemn what happened to you all yesterday.
That's right.
I have heard from William Barber and the Poor People's Campaign, who have mentored me for years. And he said, we have condemned, we are condemning, we are standing with you. I have heard from the state NAACP, who has condemned what happened in Graham, North Carolina yesterday. I have heard, even on the same day that he buried his mother, from the local president of the NAACP, who says it happened to us, and we know why it happened to you. We have heard from people all over this country. Attorney Benjamin Crump was marching with us just 24 hours before. Attorney Benjamin Crump, I want you to know Alamance County, Graham, Burlington, Attorney Benjamin Crump, along with our legal counsel, are forming a legal team. He has signed up to make Graham, North Carolina, a part of his focus to fight for the justice of all people. Black lives matter! Black lives matter! Black lives matter! Power to the people. Power to the people. I want you to know, November 3rd is coming.
That's right.
We're going to march on November 3rd. We're going to march on November 3rd.
Right. Come on, man. That's right.
Figure out your work schedules. Take your personal time off. Put your masks on. Put your marching shoes on. I'm banned from Graham until Tuesday, November 3rd. I'm coming back, and we're coming even stronger. Justice for the next generation! 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 We didn't tell nobody who to vote for.
That's right.
I sent the Republican Party an invitation to join us. I sent the Democratic Party an invitation to join us yesterday. We are peaceful.
Yes.
We are nonviolent.
Yes.
We want equality for all people.
Yes.
But let me tell you why we're saying Black Lives Matter.
Let them know.
Come on, man.
I've been all over this country.
Come on now.
And that's why the Floyd family flew in. 4 members of the Floyd family flew in and marched with us on the front line. And I owe this community a public apology that you did not hear from Brooke Williams, Mr. George Floyd's niece, and Brandon Williams, Mr. George Floyd's nephew. They had prepared and addressed remarks for this community specifically. They had to be whisked away so that they would not suffer anymore at the hand of police brutality. Anymore, a grieving family. The Griggs family. Justice for Christian Griggs. We're standing there. Floyd family said, if we need to, we'll come back. Ben Crump said, I am coming back. William Barber said, let us know when we can pull up.
Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets?
Our streets.
Revolutionary love. Revolutionary love.
I want you to know that our organization needs your support.
Yes.
We had a campaign to fund our organization before these efforts that we never publicized, never promoted. But we need your support more now than ever.
Okay.
We ask that you would go to our website, j4tng.org. People are asking everywhere, how can we help you? We need your support.
All right.
We need you to also talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your neighbor, talk to your side pieces and your main pieces. Let them know. I need you in the streets on Tuesday. Tell them one can stand over there, one can stand over there. But I need you in the streets on Tuesday. I want to say to the organizing community here in Alamance County, it's time to come together.
Yes, sir. It is.
Unity.
Yeah.
It's time for unity.
Collective power.
It's time for collective power. It's time, y'all. The Graham Police kept asking me over the last 2 or 3 weeks, how many people are coming, Reverend Drummer? How many people are coming? And I told them, I said, even though we drew a large crowd in July, I don't anticipate a large crowd as large on October 31st. And I said, I'm gonna tell you why. I said, because people are already marching to the polls.
Yes, right. Yeah.
People have been marching to the polls here in Burlington and Alamance for the last 2 weeks.
Right.
And that's exactly what we wanted them to do. Our efforts are not in competition. And so I'm saying to every community organizer, to the local NAACP, everybody that's organizing, I need you to meet me on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. I need you to figure out what's going on with your schedule so you can be there. Even if you already voted, I need you to get in those streets with me, on those sidewalks with me, and I need you to stand up to white supremacy, to police brutality. We witnessed a miracle yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
It's a miracle that we're alive. We have something that George Floyd doesn't have. We have something that Breonna Taylor don't have. We have something that Trayvon Martin doesn't have. We have our lives. But I am having flashbacks at sheriffs lunging at us, assaulting us, throwing and tackling us, our elderly, our children to the ground. And what the Graham Police Department sought to do when they said other Souls to the Polls movements were successful, they were highly organized. They're trying to turn us against each other. They're trying to turn us against each other. I want the organizers of those movements to stand with us. And I want the organizers of those movements to send a message that you're not going to divide our community. Just because you didn't target us don't mean you didn't target them. At this time, I'm going to ask the mayor of Burlington, who has spoken out against systemic oppression and police brutality. We are proud of him. He was there yesterday, and he has a few words to say. As the mayor comes forward, I'm grateful to the Tucker Street apartment community. This is where I was born, right there in apartment 617A. And I'll never forget how far God has brought me from. Mayor.
Revolutionary? No! Revolutionary? No!
Appreciate that chant, because yesterday I shared a message of love. Because it is through our love and passion and voting that we reshape the community into our own image every day. And that's why I call on folks to vote, and if they did not get to, I want to see them at the polls on Tuesday. We vote, we move our community with our hands and feet, and there is already a movement in our community to call for police accountability.
That's right.
I'm proud of Burlington because we've stepped up to the challenge of our residents. We have started that conversation. It lives proudly on our council agendas, and we are moving that forward. But our citizens do not know the boundaries between our communities, and they should experience policing no differently, no matter where they go in Alamance County. All police and law enforcement agencies in Alamance County have been called upon by the community to take action and create accountability by that police department from their citizens. Not many have acted upon that. And I am calling upon all of you now, not only to work with your hands and feet and votes, but to raise your voices and ask those law enforcement agencies and elected leaders to take action, because what we saw yesterday is exactly why that action is needed. You know what you need to do, and I'm here with you the whole way. Thank you.
I'm going to ask the only African American business owner directly in the court square who has suffered because of that to come forth and give remarks.
love you, Queen.
Love you, Keon.
You got it.
Come on, baby. You can do it.
Alamance has showed me what the true meaning of systemic racism is. It has taught me from personal experience how you can be peaceful and still targeted.
Yeah.
How if you just say that you care about others and those others don't necessarily look like you because they're not the majority in the prison system.
Right.
Come on.
But they're all relevant. They all belong to somebody.
Right.
While demonstrating for COVID-19 cases rising in the prison system and asking for a claim, for them to provide products for cleaning and keeping inmates safe. They arrested me, falsely charged me with assaulting a police officer to fit their narrative.
That's right.
Of people of color being violent, people of color being hateful. I came to Graham because I'm a peaceful person and appeared peaceful to me. I learned through personal experience how they can intimidate you to not go vote or not want to show up in your own community. How they bully people that say Black Lives Matter. Whether black, white, male, female, non-binary, transgender, the more different you look, the more targeted you become. The community of Graham wants change, but is fearful to speak up.
That's right. They're scared.
We will not pay bills, myself, in a place that I have to be afraid to come to. We have anxiety now. We have security detail, which wasn't necessary prior to us saying Black Lives Matter.
That's it.
It is up to us, the people, to hold the leadership of Alamance accountable.
That's right. That's right.
We have written letters.
That's right.
We have asked for public speaking places. Today, the county commissioner's office does not have a place for people to sign up to speak.
That's right.
Another form of silencing our voice.
Come on. Come on now.
That's right.
Do not be fooled by what they told you an hour ago. People would not bring their children to a demonstration had they known that their children was going to be subjected to military tactics by the police department. I watched the Reverend plead with the police department, the sheriff's department, several times to stand down. They can't, with their own personal integrity, do that. Knowing what's going on because they have poor leadership. Terry Johnson's got to go.
Gotta go.
Go. Terry Johnson's got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Terry Johnson's got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Terry Johnson's got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Terry Johnson's got to go.
Yeah.
Change is here.
Yep.
That's right. That's right.
Because I'm here.
It's here.
Because you're here.
That's right.
Because we're here. I will see you on Tuesday at 9 a.m.
That's right.
And we will march together in peace as we've been doing for hundreds of years and fighting for our fair chance again for hundreds of years and preparing people, the next generation, for better. Justice for the next generation.
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 All right, hello. My name is Tim. My name is Tim Olson. That is TIM O-L-S-O-N. Please spell it correctly. All right, so as you may notice, my face does not match most of the people who are behind me. And frankly, I think that the Graham Police Department was a little surprised that some of the people that I have learned to love personally, because we were in the jail cell together.
That's right.
I think they were surprised that, you know, some of us wound up with them. But I do not regret my decision to stand there.
Thank you.
And so I know this was a march to the polls. I was frankly unaware of most of what this march was about, like who was. I just wanted to show up and stand for what I believed in for 3 hours.
Thank you.
I could not vote because I am an out-of-state resident, as is another student who was arrested with me. And I hope to God that my vote in Pennsylvania will at least mean something.
That's right.
But just because I'm from Pennsylvania, I'm a student here at Elon, and or Elon University, right down the road. And I sincerely believe that even though I'm not a resident, if I love people, it's my community too. People are stuck in bubbles. The streets are designed sometimes in curvy ways so that no one would ever notice these Tucker Streets apartments. And I haven't either, because my bicycling routes have never taken me on Tucker Street, unfortunately. But frankly, I find this place beautiful because it is surrounded by love. And I just want to end with two more things. They're related. So I would probably not have had the courage to do what I did yesterday. I was standing behind the stage in linked arms, trying to ensure that the people who I just found new love for because I had never met them, I wanted to make sure that they were okay. And I got pushed to the ground too, but you know, I don't regret my decision. I would not have had the courage to do that had I not been reading the 2 books by Martin Luther King Jr. that he wrote before he was, you know, brutally assassinated. And it's unfortunate because we have a holiday for him, yet people don't know what he actually stood for. Do you want to know something he said? And I can't give you an exact quote. He said that the person that is worse than the segregationist is the one who watches on and condemns them because they're there. The lukewarm, white moderate just baffled him.
That's right.
I'm not blaming other white people who are afraid, because frankly, I was also afraid. But I hope that in seeing what actually happened here, that you, just as I might look different, might come from a different background, I still love these people, and I still love all people.
We love you.
Thanks so much. So to all the black and white and brown and whatever color you are, people, I really encourage you to read what Dr. King said. There was a stride toward freedom about the Montgomery bus boycott and why we can't wait. Frankly, we still can't wait. Please read them because it'll let you know the truth and not just a token of what we represent. Thanks.
Power to the people! 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 Power to the people!
I'm going to ask Ms. Quincelyn Ellison, when we left here on July the 11th, we planted this organization, and this is the lead organizer. Quincelyn, I didn't tell her she was going to speak today, but
He do that to me all the time.
she's put her body on the line. Her and Spencer Blackwell and the fine people of AA for J have kept the light burning. And I want to hear from her today.
Thank you. And he's right. I didn't know I was going to be speaking, but that's okay. I'm used to that with Pastor Drumright. So I just want to thank you all for coming out. Thank the community for letting us be here. And thank you for all the organizers that stand behind me. Luckily, I was not arrested yesterday. But I would like to speak on the fact that when Pastor Drumright we communicated about this march. We communicated about it. It was during a kind of rough time in my life because I had some personal issues going on. But I told him, I said, you know, this will kind of keep my mind occupied and keep me busy, so I'm up for the challenge. And I have my vice president here with me, Spence. I don't work on a lot of things by myself. We work as a organization. We all work together. But we have spent probably the last 3 weeks meeting in person to assure the safety of this march. But guys, that's just the minimum amount of time and energy that we have committed to the safety of this march. I haven't personally sat in the meetings with Pastor Drumright and the attorneys. However, I've sat in the meetings with the community, these people that you see standing behind me. And we all committed to making sure that everybody was safe. I worked with him to, like he said, organize the July 11th march, which we peacefully came down to Graham. No riots, no assaults, no issues, and we planned on doing the same thing this time. My family, personally, my children, my 2 children were there because I don't always invite them to all demonstrations. Not that they're always gonna not be safe, but I like to invite them to the ones that I have personally put forth the planning for the security, just to assure that their safety. And not only my kids' safety, but the safety of the community. Anytime I'm organizing, I want to make sure that the people that come with me come safely and leave safely. And my kids had to watch. I had spent countless hours of energy planning this for it to go safely, and they had to sit there and watch, as well as experience being pepper sprayed due to the police using excessive force. I sat at home prior to coming here and I listened to the police department's response. And I listened to people ask questions, and one of the things is we allowed them the 8 minutes and 46 seconds within the road. But at 9 minutes, we started asking them to clear out. Well, you know, the time frame between 8 minutes and 46 seconds and 9 minutes, and we had people that were kneeling on the ground, and my sister, who is right now a little bit more slow moving than normally, was still on the ground. She had not even had an opportunity to get off of the ground when the gases were released.
14 seconds later.
Guys, so we are going to hold them accountable. I'm very happy to hear that there is going to be another opportunity for us to get people to the polls, guys, because we are not backing down.
That's right.
We're not. I do appreciate the opportunity to work with Pastor Drumright and Justice for the Next Generation. And let me tell you guys something. He has an amazing group of people. They don't always get the credit because they don't require it, but this group of people are amazing. And we appreciate you guys. We appreciate your humbleness. We appreciate your hospitality.
Justice for the next generation.
Justice for the next generation.
Justice for the next generation.
So guys, I appreciate everything, like I said, and I'll turn this back over to Pastor Drumright.
Thank you.
Yeah!
At this time, we want to open it up for questions, and our attorneys are here. I did lift up Ben Crump, but let me tell you, we have a rock star team.
Yes.
These attorneys are not Johnny-come-lately. These are attorneys that have been rocking with us before all of this has happened. Attorney Elizabeth Haddix and the Lawyers Committee. Executive Director Kristen Clark. Attorney Clark has also condemned what happened to us, her clients, on yesterday. I also have here a former college classmate who is going to give remarks, not as an attorney, but as an organizer himself. He marched with us just 24 hours before. Attorney Jason Keith and Keith Associates is also a part of our legal team, along with Ben Crump and other lawyers who are tired of seeing us being beat down
That's right.
and drug into jail.
That's right. That's right.
First of all, I would like to thank all y'all for coming out, and I would like to thank Pastor Drumright for having me. He's correct. We have mobilized and we put together what I consider to be a stellar legal team headed by Ben Crump. We anticipate and we hope to help him promote the cause, and we intend to be out there when we vote and when the election comes up on November the 2nd. Now, at this point, I think what we're going to do is we're going to allow Mr. Drumright to answer questions, but we want to remind you that there were criminal charges that are pending, so some things we've advised him not to respond to. Our job is to protect him. Our job is to protect you. So at this point in time, if there are questions, understand that the details, he's been advised not to tender details regarding until the criminal investigation is over. But in the meantime, I would like to tender Mr. Drumright and any questions you may have. Thank you.
Yes.
What do you have to say to the county commissioners who have repeatedly ignored our requests for an audience?
I'd like to ask the county commissioners if they campaigned on that platform. To the commissioners, elected officials that have sought to mute your constituents, did you tell them that when you were running for their vote? Did you tell them that they would not have a voice as long as you had a seat at that table? Or did you tell white folks that you have a voice while you're demonstrating to black folks and white folks who love black folks that your voice doesn't matter? We have called out and called forth all of the violence that could happen around that monument. Monuments have come down all around Alamance County.
Yes, they have.
Monuments have come down from the north, south, east, and west in North Carolina alone. But the community here, the community, business leaders, elected officials, the community has asked for the commissioner to consider the demand. And they have shown you that not only are they not interested in talking to you about your concerns, they're not interested in you talking to them. They have to go.
They have to go.
And so I want to say to this community, the monument is on the ballot. That's why you got to vote.
That's right. That's right.
Everybody can't vote in Graham, and that's the only thing that we are concerned about, is that on Tuesday, November the 3rd, people have to go to their registered districts. Even if you voted, check my social media starting tomorrow for details. We will start at Wayman Chapel again.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
We're going to brave the cold
Yeah.
and COVID-19 one more time
That's right.
to make sure that people get an opportunity to vote.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
When you met with the Graham police, was there any time to explain the type of response that was
I heard a portion of your question. When we met with the Grand Police Chief, was there?
Yeah, did you ever tell them what type of police presence you were here?
She never responded to our request and our articulated request, both in writing and verbally, for there to be a de-escalated presence of police. She never responded with any details about the number of additional law enforcement agencies that were there assisting them, though we asked for there not to be such excessive police presence and military force, given the fact that we had already convened a peaceful demonstration just months before. Yes.
Did he not respond directly to that ask, or did not respond at all?
The police chief did respond several times over, but she did not respond directly to our concerns. The police chief's response included plans that she drafted for what she considered to be a safe event. And we consistently explained to the police that our people were not confident with those plans and that we knew that our rally would be obstructed if we were to proceed with some of the things that she was proposing to do. There was a question here. Yes.
Reverend Drummond, the key issue I think on the streets is this. The police are insistent beforehand and now today at the press conference, they had made very explicit to you that the streets would not be permanently closed, that they would mark it off to let you march from down North Main Street, arrive at the courthouse, and then go into the designated area. They indicate that they have passed that. That's their view, and they're insistent about it, and that they expressed it to you repeatedly, and that
I heard your question. I heard your question.
We advise them not to answer that question. We advise them not to answer that question. Thank you.
Justice for the next generation! Justice for the next generation! Justice for the next generation! Justice for the next generation!
Is he all right?
Yeah, it was a candy burst. It's not bleeding. It was a candy burst. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Everything's all right.
All right. All right. All right.
Let me ask you a different question.
I do want to say this one thing to your question. The only street that was closed was Elm Street on the way to the polls. And that was the street that we asked to stay open. The only street, sir, if you're going to report it, report it right. The Alamance County Sheriff's Department, in cooperation with Graham Police Department, obstructed people from leaving our area and proceeding to the polls at some point yesterday. I want to be clear about this. We did not obstruct that street.
No.
We honored it, and I'm glad that you are giving me an opportunity to uplift this one point. The Sheriff's Department needs to get this right. It's not 8 minutes and 40 seconds. There was a knee on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
Whose street? Our street!